channel. It is your boy, yes, the real Rant Reviewer, your best friend, your mistress, your lover, your wife, your husband, your X Factor. No, I'm just joking. It's just the real Rant Reviewer. We're here to rant review I think, the awesomest action series ever, which is Die Hard. Okay? Now, I'm going to start this off. Spoilers ahead, guys. You know, I get my thoughts on this. Basically, I'm going to get my thoughts on the series, the Die Hard series. The reason I say it's the action now, compared to Schwarzenegger and Stallone, we're gonna get right into this shit. Compared to these guys, these two guys, now they have some great fucking movies, right? And so does Bruce Willis, right? But in the Die Hard series, for me, when I watched this growing up as a kid, and even now when I watch it, the action, he's a real guy. Like, he's an everyday cop. See? An everyday guy. John McClane. And it's believable how he kills these people. It's believable how he does it. It's believable his attitude while he does it. It's believable he's cocky, guys, and arrogant because he is a pro. So Stallone and Schwarzenegger, they don't have the same like charisma or feeling as John McClane has. You know what I'm saying? Compared to McClane, Stallone and Schwarzenegger is a different charisma, guys, and you know that. And most of the lines are probably written for. I don't know about Stallone. I wouldn't say 100% on that, but for Schwarzenegger, yes, definitely all the lines that he has produced have been written for him. Bruce Willis, though, is more of an improvisational actor, guys, and I'm sure in like Die Hard 1, Die Hard here, you see he improvised probably a lot of these chuckles, a lot of these jokes, a lot of these scenes where his dialogue is. So, and Schwarzenegger and Stallone, I don't think they do that as often, and as well, if they do it, you know. And that being said, you know, I would love to hear your comments and thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Fuck it, rip me. But like I said, Die Hard is just a Die Hard series for me. Is something I can watch over and over. Now I'm gonna name the Die Hards that the first Die Hard, Die Hard 2, Die Hard with a Vengeance, which is Die Hard 3, and the Live Free or Die Hard, guys. Those 4 Die Hards. So the rest of the Die Hards I'm disregarding, like fucking Halloween style. Like, I'm disregarding they never existed. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the 4 main ones that are the best of the best. And I will discuss why they are individually, and we'll wrap the rant up. So Die Hard 1, of course, is a fucking based upon a book, but then they put Bruce Willis, a young Bruce Willis. He's coming out of a sitcom with Sybil Shepherd. They put him in this film as an everyday man, and he ends up taking out terrorists in a building that's called Nakatomi down in L.A. by single-handedly taking out about 10 to 12 terrorists and saving his wife and everyone else in the process. Now, we haven't seen anything like that because we've seen Schwarzenegger probably break out in Stallone bazookas and, you know, machine guns and shit like that, blow everybody, blow the whole fucking building, right? The hostages are all blown up, right? Everybody's fucking dead, you know? The place is a landmine, you know? It's a crater after Schwarzenegger and Stallone get done. But when Mr. McClane gets done, yeah, the place is a fucking wreck, guys, but everybody's alive. You know, everyone's alive. And so props off to Die Hard 1. You have hats off to, of course, Hans Gruber there. It's slipping my name, Mr. Snake from Harry Potter. Alan Rickman. Rip to him. God bless his soul. One of the greatest actors of our time to do it. Character actors. He could play any role. Alan Rickman, God bless you. He, in this movie, he is a fucking force, boys. When he comes into contact with Mr. Willis here, he runs into Mr. Bruce Willis, Mr. McClane, and it doesn't expect it. So as he doesn't expect it, they're having a cigarette. He's like, "Hey, you got to smoke or whatever." And he's like, "Yeah, I got to smoke, whatever." And they're smoking, and the scene is so intense. But you know that John McClane, this is the difference between Schwarzenegger and Stallone. Like, McClane is using this to his advantage, that he's not stupid. Like, he's so much smarter than his adversary, than this villain. And this villain, Hans Gruber, Mr. Rickman, is very, very intelligent, guys. He's so intelligent. He's pulling this fucking this heist off here in a high secure, right, with the cops outside. You know, I mean, fuck, he's got a whole escape plan. He's got this thing all teed out. But he didn't have John McClane teed out, see? That was the thing, and that's what the movie tells you, that they weren't expecting Mr. McClane, and he puts a fucking wrench in a monkey wrench in the works, boys. And let me tell you, does he ever? So, Die Hard for me, Rex, it's a great movie. Now, is it the best of the Die Hards I'm about to name? We will get to that. Maybe, if I remember it. Shit, I'm a fucking rant reviewer. So let's go to Die Hard 2, guys. Now, this might be the most, to me, the most, I guess, the most mixed reviewed Die Hard of them all. The reason being, I don't know why, but I think it's because maybe the time of the release of the movie, uh, maybe because it was the same kind of premise, if you want to say, as the first one, but because it was a plane. They say because it was a plane in the air that was hostage. Now it's like set at the building. He's, you know what I mean. He's got to save everyone on the planes, but so what? It's a cool fucking other dynamic. It's like, okay, now it's a plane. And listen, guys, the action in this is just tremendous. The language is vulgar, way more vulgar language in Die Hard 2 than in Die Hard 1. There's a scene with Mr. Willis, and he says a great fucking line to this guy. You'll know him. He says, what sets off the metal detector first, the lead in your ass or the shit in your brains? Pretty fucking cool line. You know what I mean? Like, I think he might have improvised that. I don't know if that was written for him, but you don't see Stallone or Schwarzenegger saying something smart and witty like that. Basically, what he does in Die Hard 2 is very, very good twist in Die Hard 2, guys. There's blanks being shot. They're thinking they're real. McClane finds out that the cops are in on it as well, and they want the money. It's very cool, guys. Die Hard 2 is very underrated to me. I think it's a great movie. And then when the guy comes out the plane, he punches him in the face. Mr. McClane, he says, the guy says freedom, and then McClane punches him, and he says, not yet. So it's just a great movie. If you love action, if you love Bruce Willis, if you love the character of John McClane, if you love, just love movies. So now, guys, I wanted to just to get to Die Hard 3, which is called Die Hard with a Vengeance. Okay, I believe this came out. I do have Wikipedia up, but fuck all that. I want to say I saw this as a kid on VHS when it came out. Okay, my father rented it, so he puts it in, and I already knew Die Hards. But anyways, this Die Hard with Samuel L. Jackson here, guys. This Die Hard hits, for me, this is the best Die Hard of them all. Die Hard with a Vengeance. And I'll describe why. Right in the beginning, they thought you meet up with John McClane a couple years after and shit like that, but he is drunk on the street. They pick him up because there's this guy Simon out there dropping bombs, guys, and he says he wants McClane to do shit, or he's going to drop more bombs. He's going to explode more bombs around New York City. So it's a great story, a great plot already. They pick John up, and you love seeing Bruce Willis back in the role, guys. You love seeing him, and it's just a great moment to see, even though he's all out of it and shit, and they're asking about Holly, his wife, and you get the little update, and you're feeling for John. But this is the part, guys, that gets, when I was a kid, I'm a kid watching this shit back in 95, and fucking what he does is they say, listen, and he says, all right, you're gonna have backup or whatever, because they're in a van, and he's got like some kind of board on him, like a board you would put on a billboard to promote something, right, on the street. So they're like, yeah, we got backup for you, John. Just get out the van and sit on this corner with this billboard. So you don't know what's happening, and he does it, and he's doing it, and then you meet Samuel Jackson across the street where Bruce Willis is, and he's got his nephews, and he's got a store, and then they come back in to say, hey, listen, Samuel, his name is Zeus. They say, Zeus, Samuel. They got fucking Mr. Jackson. There's a guy across the street with a sign. They're like, yeah, there's a white man across the street with a sign. They say, and Sister Stack says, yeah, I've seen one before. So you're like, it's like no big deal. But he goes, and then the kids go, nah, not like this. So then they flash to Mr. Jackson going to see what Mr. Willis is wearing. Boys, what he has on that billboard in the middle of a Harlem in New York at the time of 1995. Whatever this Simon is telling him to do, I mean, this Simon's fucking for real. He already set off a bomb, guys. I did mention that right in the beginning of the fucking movie. So if he told me to do it, I mean, they're gonna be paying John McClane a boatload. But that's the thing about Mr. McClane. They're not paying him shit. He's doing it out of the goodness of his heart. So what he has on the billboard, guys, is a lot of hate speech. Okay? It's a hate speech in Harlem. So Mr. Jackson sees this, and he tells his kids, call the fucking police. And they say, why? And he goes, because there's about to be a fucking murder. Tell them there's somebody dead, So the kids run off to do that. And Mr. Jackson starts to walk towards Mr. Willis, And now I'm watching this as a kid. I'm shitting my pants. Because, I'm shitting my pants at Mr. Willis. He's sweating. Mr. Bruce Willis, guys. I've never seen Mr. He's in his boxers, by the way. Okay? With this billboard on him. It says nasty shit. And he's sweating his ass off. Like we are. Anyways. So Mr. Jackson comes up. I don't know why. He's a good guy, right? Zeus is a good guy. He says, listen, you know what you're doing here. You're in the middle of harm. You see these guys down here? There's a couple of dudes down the street. And he's like, see these guys? What these guys see you, Mr. Willis, Mr. Willis, they're going to kill you. So I suggest you get the fuck out of here, right? So Mr. Willis says, listen, mind your business, sir. Back up, mind your business. I'm sorry I'm going over this rant longly because this is my favorite Die Hard, guys. So I just wanted to tell you as a kid what stuck out to me in this Die Hard, and we will wrap this rant up. So anyways, this part is one of the greatest parts of Die Hard or of the series. So Zeus walks up and he tells him, listen, no, these guys over here, in 2 seconds, they're going to fucking kill you. So I suggest you get the fuck out of here. But guess what, guys? It's too late. You hear somebody shout, what the fuck? And you hear a bottle break, and these motherfuckers see Mr. Willis, and it is on. They see Mr. McClane. Then Mr. McClane, as Mr. McClane sees these people come towards him, he tells this is where he panics very badly, because he knows he's in really danger here of death. And he tells Mr. Jackson that I am a cop. Did you hear about the bombings this morning? Mr. Zeus says, yes, I heard about it on the radio. He says, a son of a bitch that told me told me to come down, wear this stupid fucking sign and do this. Please, I got a gun on my back. Please, help me, whatever, or do something. And Mr. Jackson's just like blown away by this information he's taking in so quickly. By the time, so these dudes walk up and they're like, hey, what the fuck, Zeus? What the fuck, Mr. Jackson? Is this your friend over here? And he's trying to explain it all, blah, 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 Bellevue and all this shit. It doesn't work. The dudes hit Mr. Bruce Willis with a bottle, smashing it over his head. As soon as he does that, Mr. Jackson sees the gun taped to Mr. Willis's back. He takes it off. He points it at the gang. He tells them, back the fuck up. They do back the fuck up. They hop in. They hijack a fucking taxi to get the fuck out of there. That's how dangerous the situation has become, guys. And so they jump in the fucking taxi. They're out of there. Bada, bada. They go to the police station. Simon's calling some more. Anyways, guys. So this is the best of the series. Just off that, it had me as a child. And the movie just explodes from there. And it's nonstop action. Nonstop. Never seen action compared to 1 and 2. This is 3. It just combines 1 and 2 and explodes it. So yes, Die Hard with the Vengeance, guys, my favorite Die Hard. Now let's go to the last and the free. Live Free or Die Hard, featuring Justin Long, the computer hacker, guys. The hacking movie, right? Where Mr. Timothy Olyphant, which I believe his name is hacking the systems around the world, right, guys? The FBI to get money and all this shit. But McClane is back. And let me tell you, this movie, I think, was shot in 2005, 2007. Do not hold me to that. I do have Wikipedia up, but I don't give a shit. I want you to call me out in the comments then and correct me. Should be watching this video and these movies. So the last of the Die Hards, Live Free or Die Hard, guys. A lot of it made $300 million. Each of these Die Hards made at least around $300 to $400 million. Okay, except for the first, it only made $148 million because it was the first. Because nobody knew. Now they know. But this Live Free or Die Hard surprised the shit out of me. There's a scene in this movie, guys, where Bruce Willis is getting chased by a helicopter, okay? And Mr. Bruce Willis is in a police car, guys, with Justin Long, okay? Justin Long is phenomenal in this movie. I love him as this sidekick. He's fucking great. I believe his panic the whole time. Fuck the opening of the movie. It's great as well. But I'm going to go to this scene. So Bruce Willis is in this cop car, right? So what Timothy the bad guy does is shut everything off. So the lights and everything in this tunnel. So, and the helicopter's waiting outside, So he's like, waiting outside for Mr. Willis to come out so he can kill Mr. Willis and Justin Long. But what John McClane does is Mr. McClane has an idea. He gets back into the cop car, he drives at high speed, and what he does is jump out of the cop car as soon as it hits another car or some kind of ramp to ramp it up towards the helicopter that's above. Hence, the car hits the helicopter with the guy hanging it with the people in it, the guy that's in the helicopter, one of them's able to jump out. I don't know how he survives that fall, but regardless, the car hits the helicopter midair. Guys, it is practical. It is a practical effect, meaning no CGI that I saw. That shit was incredible. I've never seen John McClane do that. And then he says a joke. I can't believe I ran out of. Justin Long says, I can't believe it. You just killed the helicopter. You just killed the helicopter with the car. And the great line. Bruce Willis says, well, I ran out of bullets. Yeah, I've never seen it even in Vengeance. Come on, guys. What a fucking scene. So, and then there's another scene as Kevin Smith's part and all that shit. I don't like it, guys, but there's another scene at the end of this movie where there's an F-16 fighter jet in Live Free or Die Hard at the end, okay, chasing Mr. Bruce Willis, guys. An F-16. Mr. Bruce Willis is in a fucking semi, okay, and this F-16 is shredding him with fucking caliber of size of bullets that you don't even want to know, guys. It is basically shredding this thing up like paper. This fucking semi that Mr. Willis is in, McClane. So McClane, guys, is this part where the F-16 shoots a missile at the bridge, which is McClane is driving on. When Mr. McClane, the bridge goes out, Mr. McClane's vehicle starts to, fall, of course. He's going to fall because the bridge is out. He's hanging and falling slowly. What he does is, if I'm not mistaken, the F-16 ends up coming behind him to finish him. But what Mr. McClane does is gets out of the car, I believe, of the truck, runs on top of the truck, over to the M16, on top of the F-16, and rides it. Okay? So did you hear what I just said? So, and you're watching this. I wish I would have saw this in theaters, guys. I rented this movie. Unfortunately, I did not see it in theaters. It's a fucking shame. And he rides the F-16, guys, down, like, because the F-16 does something to it, or something happens to the F-16, it has to crash, so the pilot bails. So now Mr. Willis is holding on. I've never seen anything like it. And there is computerization used in this, but it's so used so goodly and so slightly and so tightly. And there's a real authentic scene here where it's coming up where Mr. Willis jumps off of the F-16 fighter jet onto a slab of concrete. It looks so real. Like, it looks so good. I bet you that was practical. Had to be. And he fucking slides all the way. Of course, the fire behind him isn't real, but the fire comes behind, he slides down. What a scene, guys. And then the ending, of course, of Live Free or Die Hard, where he shoots him. I believe he shoots himself. Oh, my God. How could you write that? Now, anyone that says in their right mind on this fucking rant that, of all the diehards, that wasn't the coolest way to kill a villain, and, by shooting himself, to shoot the bad guy, to kill him, Ugh, what a fucking idea. It had me, guys. That movie had me. And so did Vengeance. So, I want to thank you guys for sticking around and listening to this Die Hard series. Phenomenal, mega fucking real rant reviewer on the Die Hard series and what ones you should watch and which ones you should stay away from. The 1/4s I just watched and mentioned and told you, I watch them nonstop, TV, anytime, baby. Yes, put them the fuck on. Listen to me. Leave a comment on what's your favorite. Leave a comment on what's not your favorite. And much love to you guys and much respect. All right, take care of yourselves out there.